Can something small defeat something big? Today's Bible story is about a young boy named David and a giant named Goliath. And trust me, this one is exciting. Long ago, two armies stood on two hills, staring across a valley. On one side was Israel, and on the other side were the Philistines. Everyone was nervous because every day someone terrifying stepped out into the open. And then there he was, Goliath. He was enormous, so tall that even the bravest soldiers looked tiny next to him. His armor clanked as he walked, and his voice boomed across the valley like thunder. When the Israelites heard him, their hearts sank. They whispered, they backed away, and fear spread through the camp like a cold wind. Day after day, Goliath returned. Day after day, he shouted the same challenge. And day after day, nobody stepped forward. The strongest soldiers stayed silent. The fastest soldiers didn't run. The loudest soldiers didn't speak. It felt like the whole army had forgotten how to be brave. But then something unexpected happened. A young shepherd boy named David arrived at the camp. David wasn't a soldier. He didn't wear heavy armor. He didn't carry a big sword. He came for a simple reason: to bring food to his older brothers. David had been out in the fields caring for sheep, and now he was walking through tents looking for his family. And that's when David heard it. The shouting from the valley. David stopped. He listened. He looked around at the soldiers, grown men trained for battle, standing with worried faces and shaking hands. David couldn't understand it. Why was everyone frozen? Why did nobody answer the giant? David asked questions, and the answers he heard sounded like fear. He's too big. He's too strong. We can't win. But David didn't see a giant problem. David saw a moment to trust God. You see, David remembered something important. God had been with him when he was alone in the fields. God gave him courage when danger came near his sheep. David had faced scary things before, and he learned that when you are with God, you are never truly alone. Soon, people started talking about David. Did you hear what he said? He's not scared. Word traveled fast through the camp until it reached the king. David was brought to King Saul. Now King Saul looked tired and worried. He had a whole army, but no one had stepped forward. And then this boy walked in calm, steady, respectful, saying he would face the giant. The king couldn't believe it. David was young. Goliath was huge. It didn't make sense unless you understood what David understood. David explained that he had protected his sheep from wild animals, and God helped him. David didn't brag about his strength. He didn't pretend to be perfect. He simply believed that the same God who helped him before would help him again. King Saul tried to help David the only way he knew how, by giving him armor, heavy armor, royal armor, battle armor. But when David put it on, it didn't fit. It was too big, too heavy, too uncomfortable. David could barely walk. It was almost funny, like a child wearing a grown-up shoes. David realized something. He didn't need to pretend to be someone else in order to be brave. He didn't need to copy a soldier's style. He needed to be himself and trust God. So David took off the armor. Instead, he went to a nearby stream. He knelt down, letting the cool water run over his fingers, and he chose 5 smooth stones. Not special stones, not magic stones, just smooth stones. Simple stones. But David wasn't trusting the stones. David was trusting God. Then came the moment everyone will remember. David walked into the valley. Small feet on big ground. Quiet courage in a loud place. Across from him, Goliath stepped forward, confident and proud. The giant looked at David and laughed. He thought it was a joke. A boy, really. But David did not shake. David did not run, because David did not come believing in his size. David came believing in God. Goliath showed off his sword and his spear, as if to say, "Look how powerful I am." But David's courage came from something you can't hold in your hand. David's courage came from faith. And then David spoke clear and strong. He basically said, "You come with weapons, but I come in the name of the Lord." In other words, I'm not fighting alone. The valley became quiet. Soldiers watched, hearts pounded. The wind moved through the grass, and David stepped forward. David ran toward the giant not because he felt big, but because he trusted God. He placed a stone in his sling. He swung it around and around, fast like a circle of courage, and then whoosh, the stone flew and the giant fell. No long battle, no big sword fight. Just one moment where faith defeated fear. The camp exploded with shouting and cheering. The same soldiers who were afraid now celebrated. They learned what David already knew. God can use what seems small to do something great. And that's the lesson for us. Sometimes your giant isn't a person. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's worry. Sometimes it's bullying. Sometimes it's feeling like you're not good enough. Not smart enough, not strong enough, not brave enough. But here, as what this story teaches, you, Dan T, have to be the biggest to be brave. You just have to remember that God is bigger than what scares you. So when you face something huge, take a breath and remember David. You may feel small, but with God you can be brave, and you never fight alone.